Then you want to consider what you're going to do in terms of weather stripping the bottom window. Again, if you chose to weather strip the meeting rail on the inside of the top window at the bottom, you don't have to put weather stripping on the bottom window. If you chose not to put the weather stripping there, then you'll have to address the meeting rail issue on the top rail of the bottom window. And you can cut a kerf there, or you can cut a kerf there, or like I say, they make this material here. They sell this right here. This is like a, you peel it off just like we did with the Polyflex, right? And the adhesive sticks it right on just like that. And I would suggest stapling that there or stapling it here, because that's what the flat end is for, is to put a staple through so it never comes off. So if you opt to do it on the bottom, on the top rail of the bottom window on the outside, so it faces the outside, it comes in black and white. So if the outside of your windows are painted a light color, you probably use the white. If it's a dark color or black, you'd use the black. They don't come in any other colors that I know of right now. So you'd have to take care of that. And then, again, on the bottom of the bottom, this has a kerf already cut in it. And you can see that you can cut that the same we did with the top there. You can cut the siliconized bulb and put that right in over there. Okay, or you can take some of that material and peel off the adhesive, put it on, and then just staple the bottom. Now, I had mentioned to you guys before at the beginning how sometimes the joints rotted out, and this is the FlexTech epoxy that we use to repair the joints with. So, in terms of the sides of the bottom window, you can use the Polyflex up against the parting bead. You can use the spring bronze on the sides there. The one advantage the spring bronze has also is, like say hopefully your windows don't look like this beat up, but if they are, this material on the bottom window you can buy it at the width that it will cover the whole leg jamb. So when you raise the window up, you're not looking at all of that. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I would encourage you to use the cushion bronze, which comes, again, same thing in the two colors, so that's how you would select your chain. And the cushion bronze, basically what you're going to do is you're going to put the window in first if you decide to go with this. I'm going to go with this here, okay, and the Polyflex, like a combination of the two. Now, when I'm out in the field, I always use a drill when I'm doing this, but I decided to just use a screwdriver today to let you know you don't even need a drill if you want to do this. You can actually just use a screwdriver to take it. It's a little slower, but it can be done. When you go to nail your screw you open, you want to make sure, all right, that the screw is going through the knot, not through the rope. Does everyone understand that? Because if you screw through the rope, you'll end up it'll fray the rope, and eventually it'll wear out and break, and you'll have a broken rope in your hands. That's the one thing about the chain you don't have to worry about. When you put this back in, when the window closes, the rails should be dead. They should meet evenly. You shouldn't have to shim the lock. If it's too high, you can belt sand a little off the bottom or off the top, but these rails should meet. And when the locks work, the lock should be pulling the two rails together so that in effect this weather stripping will take action. It should also be pushing the bottom one down, the top one up a little bit, so you have the full effect of the weather stripping all around the window. So what you would do in terms of measuring for your weather stripping for the bottom window on the sides, now that we've taken care of the other areas, basically if you measure the window itself, okay, because the weather stripping only has to, it's 23.5. The weather stripping only has to engage the window when the window is fully closed. Okay, you don't have to have weather stripping up here when the window's open. There's no need for weather stripping up here. You just need weather stripping to engage the window when it's fully closed. So you would measure that, and if you measure that again, you have 23.5. And to cut any of this metal, if you just buy a big pair of red scissors. Or if you have one, just have one of these hanging around the house. This works fine too, like a little swizzle cutter. And when you cut your second piece, you can just line it up against the first piece. Here, what you're going to do so that you never catch the window is, this is probably the most important move you make with this, is you're going to take this and you're going to peel it up, push it over like that, and you leave a cushioned edge instead of a sharp edge. And also, when the window is open all the way, this here will be up beyond it a little bit anyways. I don't think your window's going to open any more than that. So your window's never going to get higher than that anyways, but you still want that cushioned edge, because even as it comes down on the side, that can still catch the wood and really cut right through the wood. I've seen that happen. You don't want that. Now again, normally your windows, a way to gauge this is if you pull your window to the side, if you look like you have about 1/4 of an inch in here, okay, you got plenty of room. You don't have to claim for the weather stripping, right? Hopefully you never have as much room as that, but this is just a, a window we work with just to teach the workshop. But you should, in your house, when you pull it in here, it should look more like that. There shouldn't be that much space. And that means you want to take an eighth off of each side so that you can retrofit the weather stripping in there, and you won't be too tight. You don't want the windows so tight you can hardly move them. You want them so you can move them up and down, but they should go up and down smoothly running up against this. I'm going to line it up so that when the window is closed like this arrow here should be right up against the face of this. Okay, that's where you want it. This is going to be hidden by the stop, but this is the part you want to engage the window, so you want it right there. And I just use a regular sheetrock screw, because this is all going to be underneath the window itself. And then you take the same piece and do it on the other side. What's going to go at the top, okay, that's going to get that flip on the leaf. You just take your finger and your thumb, you just twist that over. Raise the window up again, and you can start it up in here. And you can see, even with all of the too much room that this window has, it still eats that, the cushion brawn eats up a lot of that space. Okay, so once you get to that point, you've got the window all weather stripped, and hopefully everything's going up and down smoothly. This one here is still a little loose, because the window again is a little bit small, but you can see it takes up pretty much most of the space, And then if you wanted to, and we'll do it with this window, we're going to run a piece of polyflex up against the potting bead, and that's basically what I just call double weather stripping the sides of the window. You can do that. Use the bronze here, and then the polyflex up against the potting bead. Do the same thing on the top window, and you double weather stripped all the way through. It just really increases the weather stripping value, makes it that much more energy efficient. When you use the polyflex, there's two ways you can install it so that you're never going to catch it. One would be to use a staple, but if you don't want to use a staple, you can just come up a little bit higher than the window will ever come down. In other words, the window comes down to here, you run the polyflex up to here instead. And that way there you're never running over the edge. If you run over the edge, you'll pull the weather stripping out. So I'm just going to go from here, figure another half, and come up to here and bend it like this and do the same thing we did with the other one. And again, you can just peel off. And then you can usually, if you pull your window over a little bit, you can just slide this right underneath like this. Okay. and then do the same thing on the other side. And then, like I say, the window is double weather stripped then, and you really can't you can't weather strip them any more than that. Then what you need to do is you need to put your stops back on. When you put the stops back in, usually the top is angled like that, so you want to put your top in first and then adjust the bottom accordingly. And what you want to do when you're putting that in, you want to take a chisel edge putty knife or any kind of putty knife. Just make sure you're taking up a little bit of space here between here and the window, because you don't want it to be too tight against the window. If you put it on too tight against the window, it'll cramp the window up and the window won't open out well. Okay. I'll do it up here too. Bring it up. Make sure you still have the same amount of space up there. Again, you just feed the top in.